Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to AdvancePro University. Today, we are going to be interacting with the customer through sales orders, picking, packing, and shipping, and invoices. So, now, in order to follow along today, you may want to take a look at some of the related videos, such as entering a product, customer, or vendor, and you can find all of those on our APTU video archive on AdvanceProTech.com under the Resources tab. Now, today is meant as an overview, so we're going to touch on many features that also have their own video. So if there's a feature you'd like to learn more on, please feel free to take a look. Now, in AdvancePro, we're going to start off. We'll just jump into the software, and we're logged in. Now, here from the main dashboard, there's two ways we can start by placing a customer order, and this does require a customer to already be added to your list of customers. So you can do that from Add Customer, or here under the Customers tab, we have the Add Customer tab in the top center. Now, we can also start that order from here, Place New Order, or New Order up on the quick navigation bar on the left. So let's go ahead, let's jump in. I'm going to go ahead and click New Order. And this is going to take us to the Place Customer Purchase Order Customer Details. This is where we choose what customer we're going to be doing business with. We can choose the customer from a list, or we can use this to search for all or part of a customer's company name within AdvancePro. You can also search by account number. Okay. Now, once we choose a customer, we get a few options enabled. First off, we can choose our billing and shipping address for this transaction. So we do support multiple addresses, and these are for the ones that are already entered. Now, we can also choose the sales rep, and the sales rep will automatically populate if they're associated with this customer. And we can see the order history of this customer. So if the customer has been buying from us previously, we can see what they got last time. If we check off one of these items, it'll get automatically added to our next order. We can also see their invoice history by checking this box. So this lets us see when we sent our last invoices, how much they were for, whether or not we got paid for them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and proceed. This is going to take us to an order entry screen. Now, across the top, we can set everything to do with the details of this order. So we can edit and enter a new address if we need to, or we can set the payment terms. We can still set the sales rep. The account number will be pulled from the customer's profile. Now, we can also set the ship date and expected date, the dates where you expect for it to ship from your warehouse, the date where you expect for it to arrive at the customer's location. There's also a cancel date, which is usually a date at which the transaction will no longer be valid if you haven't filled it by then. And we can set a carrier and a carrier account number for this customer as well. And that can be done from your admin panel under your carrier settings. Okay, so we've got an item on our order already. I'm going to back this off, and I'm going to put in a new item. We can put in a few items here just by typing in all or part of a SKU. You can see it's going to attempt to autocomplete based on the SKUs that you have. Now, another thing that you can do is you can search on part of a SKU or part of a UPC or vendor SKU, or off a custom field. You can also work off of a product name, and we can use this magnifying glass to search. We can also filter down by categories within our searches as well. So this is a very powerful way to search out a specific product if we need to. Your categories are very, very flexible. We have a whole episode just on categories. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go to electronics. I'm going to open up that search, and we're going to see all our electronics products. I can go ahead and check those items off, and they'll add to the order. Now, down at the bottom, we can set up our taxation, choose a tax code if there's not one already set for this customer. And we'll also be working with shipping, so we can put in a shipping charge, what we're going to charge our customer for shipping. Now, I'm going to go ahead and save this. We can print this off. We can turn it into a PDF or an Excel file, and we can also email it to our customer using this little email button right here on the lower left. Looks like a letter. Okay. So the other things we can do at this point, we can attach notes either at the line item level by clicking this button right here to start attaching a note that's relevant to the line item. We can actually have that transfer to a vendor order if we need to turn around and buy the same item from a vendor in order to fill this order. Now we can also attach a note either that's going to follow just inside of AdvancePro here in admin, or that we can print out on our order or on the invoice that's related to this order, or a note for our warehouse on the pick, pack, and ship slips. And we can actually edit these notes throughout the process. You'll see this icon appear again and again. Now, we can also take a payment. So if we take a payment, there's actually a whole video where we detail how we take payments. You can have a number of payment methods, and you can take payments. If we're processing credit cards, you can actually process credit cards right through AdvancePro with Authorize.net, Payflow Pro, or Virtual Merchant. I'm just going to back out of there. Now, the next thing we can do is we can save as a quotation. So where this printed out as a customer sales order or pro forma invoice, when we click quotation, it's going to move our order into the quotations area, and it's now going to print off as a quotation. So let's go ahead and do that. You'll see the order got saved as a quotation. It's a slightly different area of AdvancePro. We're going to go to View Orders, and you'll see there's all these categories that tell us what's happening with an order. So there's an open order, which is where we were as we were placing the order. And now we can go over to quotations. We can open this up and we can look at our quotation. If we print it off, it will now read as a quotation. And whenever your customer is ready to confirm and move ahead with a quotation, you would just hit place order and move forward with this order as you would naturally if you were just directly entering the order and moving ahead. So we'll continue that process in a second. Something else I want to mention about this View Orders area found here on the upper left in the quick navigation bar, or in the Customers area to view all customer orders, is if you're working importing orders, you can actually automatically bring orders in from an e-commerce website, from some other sales tool, or from AdvancePro's own B2C, B2B, and sales rep web services, web tools. This is where your orders are going to arrive. They're going to arrive in this list of orders under Open, typically. Okay, now let's go ahead. Let's open up our quotation. We've got the order all entered. We've got a number of items we're going to sell. We can see our stock level, and this is the available stock level, so you don't need to worry if you've already sold this product, because it should be reserved, and you'll see us reserve it in this next step. So you'll see here we've got 15 currently available. I'm going to go ahead and place the order. This takes us to the process order screen. So this screen is all about deciding how to get the product to the customer. So here you can see right now we've got one of each of these items on order, and we can fill these items from stock. So there's just over 3,000 on this first one. There's about 80 units in the second line, and we've got 15 in our warehouse for the third line. So we can easily take all of these out of our warehouse. Now, when we do this, when we hit process order, it's going to make a pick ticket so our warehouse team can go ahead and start picking these items. And it's also going to reserve this product. So the next salesperson who goes to sell this item on the bottom, the espresso machine, they're only going to see 14 pieces available for this item before we've even shipped it out. And this is also going to trigger your reorder alert levels. Now here on the right hand side, this is if we're out of stock. What we can do is we can order this item from a vendor to come into our warehouse, and then we can ship it to our customer. So we would come back to this screen, the process order screen, to then actually ship that back order out once it's received. This next checkbox will make the vendor order, but it will make an individual customer drop ship order. So this means you're going to create an order to your vendor, and you're going to tell your vendor to ship directly to your customer. So this way it doesn't come through your inventory, it doesn't come through your stock. All the vendor does is they confirm it with you, and when you click that it's been confirmed, the vendor order turns into a customer shipping, a customer invoice to go get payment from your customer, because it's now delivered to your customer. And it also makes a vendor bill, and there's a whole video on drop shipping, so please feel free to take a look at that. Now, on this last column, this is for manufacturing, so this will create a manufacturing work order. Now today, we're going to focus on picking, packing, and shipping, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to process this order out of our warehouse. And we get a little window telling us what the results were. So here we have that it made a pick ticket, it did not make a vendor order, it didn't make a work order. So let's back out, and now we're going to head over to the warehouse area. And what this is for your shipping manager or for your warehouse manager, even your picker and packer. This will show them what their day's work looks like. So here we can see we have some orders to pick, orders to pack, and orders to ship. Now this allows us to do an assembly line style pick, pack, and ship where someone might go and get the product off the shelf in picking, someone might confirm the order and package it in packing, and someone might put a label on the order and send it out on a truck in the shipping stage. So this way you can work through that process. However, we can also skip steps, and I'll show you how this works. So if we open up our order, here it is as a picking slip. We can also do the picking and packing from our mobile device on Android. So here, at this point, it tells us what picking location to go get the items from if we're using picking locations. If we have serial numbers and lot numbers, we can actually click this button right here to go ahead and open up our options and decide what serial number or lot number we're going to draw this product from. That way we can also manage first in, first out, and expiry dates. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pick these items. I've just clicked full. I could also go ahead and manually enter these items in, and I can submit them. So this is going to pass right now from picking to packing. So then if I were then the packer, we would come into the warehouse and we would go to the to pack phase. So I'd go to orders to pack, and I would see our order sitting in the to pack queue. So that's one option, and then if we submit again, it's going to pass to the to shipping queue. Now we can also skip these steps using these radio buttons. So we have the pick now, pack later button. That's the standard, and then when you've packed it, it's a pack now, ship later, and then we've got ship now. But we can click to decide what our next step is. So if we click ship now, we can do this right from picking. It'll go right out the door. It'll be considered shipped immediately. Through this whole process, the product is reserved, and when we ship the product, that's where our inventory actually goes down and the reserve gets removed. Okay. Now we can print this off as a picking slip or a packing slip or a shipping slip, depending on what stage we're at. So here's our document, and we can also still attach notes and view any notes that have been put on this particular document. Now the last thing I want to touch on is the UPS FedEx option. So what this does is it's going to let us send this shipment, address, shipment information over to UPS WorldShip, FedEx Manager, and we also support USPS through Indicia and through Click and Ship. So this will send the address information over to your shipping software. You can get your label, you can get your tracking number, and the tracking number will come back into AdvancePro automatically. So that'll automatically populate that tracking field for you. If you're working with LTL or some other shipping method, you can go ahead and put that tracking number in manually if you like. Now you'll also see we have some options up here that opened up if you have your freight module enabled. So we can actually put in our cost that we're going to be paying for the freight. This is also going to come back from UPS WorldShip or from FedEx Manager as your quoted cost, the cost that you'll be charged by your carrier. Now we can also go ahead and we can put in an additional shipping charge. So if we had initially charged $10 to the customer, we can add $10 more and they'll get charged $20. This way, if our initial shipping quote was inaccurate, we can make an adjustment so long as the customer is paying at the end of the transaction on terms. Let's go ahead, we'll submit this. We're going to ship the products out now. So now the products have been removed from the warehouse and it has created an invoice. So we're going to come to Customers, View All Invoices and Credit Memos. And we now have an invoice for our PO 111. We can open this up. Now if we had done a partial shipment or any kind of other partial fulfillment, AdvancePro will create an invoice for the items as they are delivered to the customer. So if a drop shipment portion of an order finishes before you ship out of your warehouse or vice versa, you'll have a partial invoice and you can invoice the customer immediately or wait for the rest of the PO to be filled, and then you'll have a unified invoice. So you can do it in parts or you can do it in one big invoice. It's all up to you. So here's our invoice. We can print this document off, we can send it out as a PDF or an Excel file, and we can email it again. We also still have the options for notes as well. Now when we click Create Invoice, that's going to finish the invoice in AdvancePro. it's going to send it back over to QuickBooks so that we can actually have it sent into QuickBooks. We don't have to spend time entering an invoice into QuickBooks. So this is actually going to save a ton of time in terms of entering all these customer orders. The other thing that you can do with it is you can use this to actually trigger payments becoming available on the invoice within AdvancePro. So we can create that invoice. Now once the invoice is created, it is final, and the only thing that you can do is void the invoice, which is found in the same area. You'll find unconfirmed invoices in the pending filter, finished invoices in the invoiced filter. Now if you accidentally shipped something and you want to make it unshipped, you want to reverse some steps a little bit, you can do that with customer transactions. We'll touch on that as well. As long as you haven't clicked create invoice, you can go ahead and send it back to the picking stage. And in turn, from the picking stage, if you've sent something to picking and you didn't mean to, you can come into orders to pick, open up that picking ticket, and you will have a send back to open orders option. So I'll go into an unblocked ticket. Here it is. We can send that back to open orders, and then we can go ahead and reprocess it if there's any kind of changes that need to be made to our transaction. So that does conclude today's tour of our picking, packing, shipping, sales orders, and invoices today.